Hey there guys, it's Coopergen with the last video from the Brief History of the Empire series. Now in the last one we discovered that because of the Pelagius II's actions way back when, Uriel IV had a hard time dealing with the Elder Council because they were consisted of mostly rich individuals who just held way more power and could oust him whenever they needed to as far as his succession goes, costing him his child's ability to, they ended up disinheriting them from the family. So that's one thing that comes to show really don't want to try to switch out actual knowledge for people with deep pockets because it will never go your way in the end. Even if it takes a long time, in one way or another, it puts power in the wrong places. So guys, if you would, throw a like on this if you like what you hear. If you want to see more of it, put a subscribe and it'll notify you whenever I pop another video out. But with this, we're going to cover a brief history of the Empire Part 4 by Stronach Cathars III, Imperial Historian. The first book of this series described in brief the first 8 emperors of the Septim Dynasty, beginning with Tiber I. The second volume describes the War of the Red Diamond and the 6 emperors who followed. The third volume described the troubles of the next 3 emperors, the frustrated Uriel IV, the ineffectual Sepphoris II, and the heroic Uriel V. On Uriel V's death across the sea in distant hostile Akavir, Uriel VI was but 5 years old. In fact, Uriel VI was born only shortly before his father left for Akavir, Uriel V's only other progeny by a morganatic alliance. There were the twins Morahatha and Eloisa, who had been born a month after Uriel V left. Uriel VI was crowned in the 290th year of the Third Era. The imperial consort Thonica, as the boy's mother, was given a restricted regency until Uriel VI reached his majority. The Elder Council retained the real power as they had ever since the days of Catariah I. The council so enjoyed its unlimited and unrestricted freedom to promulgate laws and generate profits that Uriel VI was not given full license to rule until the year 307, when he was already 22 years old. He had been slowly assuming positions of responsibility for years, but both the council and his mother, who enjoyed even her limited regency, were loath to hand over the reins. By the time he came to the throne, the mechanisms of government gave him little power except for that of the imperial veto. This power, however, he regularly and vigorously exercised. By year 313, Uriel VI could boast with conviction that he truly did rule Tamriel. He utilized defunct spy networks and guard units to bully and coerce the difficult members of the Elder Council. His half-sister Morahatha was, not surprisingly, his staunchest ally, especially after her marriage to Baron Ulfe Gerson of Winterhold brought her considerable wealth and influence. As the sage Ugarij said, Uriel V conquered Esraniet, but Uriel VI conquered the Elder Council. When Uriel VI fell off a horse and could not be resuscitated by the finest imperial healers, his beloved sister Morahatha took up the imperial tiara. At 25 years of age, she had been described by admittedly self-serving diplomats as the most beautiful creature in all Tamriel. She was certainly well-learned, vivacious, athletic, and a well-practiced politician. She brought the Archmagister of Skyrim to the imperial city and created the second imperial battle mage since the days of Tiber Septim. Morahatha finished the job her brother had begun and made the imperial province a true government under the Empress and later the Emperor. Outside the imperial province, however, the empire had been slowly disintegrating. Open revolutions and civil wars had raged unchallenged since the days of her grandfather Sepphoris II. Carefully coordinating her counterattacks, Morahatha slowly claimed back her rebellious vassals, always avoiding overextending herself. Though Morahatha's military campaigns were remarkably successful, her deliberate pace often frustrated the council. One councilman, an Argonian who took the Colovian name of Thorocles Ramus, furious at her refusal to send troops to his troubled Black Marsh, is commonly believed to have hired the assassins who claimed her life in the Third Era, year 339. Ramus was summarily tried and executed, though he protested his innocence to the last. Morahatha had no surviving children, and Eloisa had died of a fever 4 years before. Eloisa's 25-year-old son, Pelagius, was thus crowned Pelagius IV. Pelagius IV continued his aunt's work, slowly bringing back under his wing the radical and refractory kingdoms, duchies, and baronies of the empire. He exercised Morahatha's poise and circumspect pace in his endeavors, but alas, he did not attain her success. The kingdom had been free of constraint for so long that even a benign imperial presence was considered odious. Nevertheless, when Pelagius died after a notably stable and prosperous 29-year reign, Tamriel was closer to unity than it had been since the days of Uriel I. Our current emperor, his awesome and terrible majesty, Uriel the Septim VII, son of Pelagius IV, has the diligence of his great aunt Morahatha, the political skill of his great uncle Uriel VI, and the military prowess of his great granduncle Uriel V. For 21 years he reigned and brought justice and order to Tamriel. In the year 389 of the Third Era, however, his imperial battle mage, Rhaegar Tharn, betrayed him. Uriel VII was imprisoned in a dimension of Tharn's creation, and Tharn used his sorcery of illusion to assume the Emperor's aspect. For the next 10 years, Tharn abused imperial privilege but did not continue Uriel VII's schedule of reconquest. It is not yet entirely known what Tharn's goals and personal accomplishments were during the 10 years he masqueraded as his liege lord. In the Third Era, year 399, an enigmatic champion defeated the battle mage in the dungeons of the imperial palace and freed Uriel VII from his other dimensional jail. Since his emancipation, Uriel Septim VII has worked diligently to renew the battles that would reunite Tamriel. Tharn's interference broke the momentum, it is true, but the years since then have proven that there is hope, the golden age of Tiber Septim's rule glorifying Tamriel once again. Alright, and with that, guys, it went all the way into where one of the earlier Elder Scroll games actually begins, where it is one of our characters that go through and whoop some booty, and then we end up saving the day, or at least helping save the day. But I hope you guys enjoyed these books. I had a good time with them, and I like these histories leading up. So if you guys really do want to see more, just let me know and how I'm doing in the comments. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a good one. Bye-bye now, and appreciate it.